Okay, Mayor, we're good.
We on?
Yes, sir.
There we go.
I've already had one.
Okay. Hello, how are you? Doing fine. I'm gonna be down in your neighborhood side this afternoon. Looking at bulkheads. Looking at bulkheads.
Brenda has got to go down there and just spend some time watching her work.
Yeah.
I said, okay, I'll go with you.
Yep. I knew they had moved some of the funds that we had done for the repairs to that bulkhead, which is the right thing to do, you know. But I think you got a bigger problem down there. So yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna be down there and take a look. I've said this before. And he knows this. We really haven't looked at our bulkheads around the city, and I am scared to death. Tricia, I mean, I'm scared to death. You know, whether it's up on Upper Bay Road, around different places, you name it. It's we're without looking, I know we have a problem. So anyway, hey, look, let's get this started. It's actually a minute after 9.
Thank you for getting the lights.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah, did a good job with that. Let's get this started. Hey, I want to just kick off with one thing. I'll turn it over to Paul. But at every turn, I'm trying to really give visibility. I'm going to keep saying it because I think this year it just may be really important, which is June 1st is hurricane season. You may not know, but there's actually two troughs out in the Gulf already this year. Going on as we speak, one off the eastern coast of Florida that may go, they're looking that it's going to go eastward, but there's some models that say it's going to cut across. And there's one in southwest, on the southwest Gulf on the eastern side of Mexico. So we're tracking both of them, but that's really early to have that type of activity. And you know, you can go by what quote they say, but the weather patterns, particularly as we move from a La Nina to an El Nino, is the most vulnerable time for the Houston area, and we're in that transition right now. So what I keep telling people, even though today is maybe an exception, but for the last month and a half, we've had some of the highest tidal water I've ever seen in Nassau Bay. The 30 years I've been here, it has been up about 2 feet. It's been constant. We've had a lot of severe storm already. I'm very concerned. So please have a plan. You know, when there's when a storm comes into the Gulf, if you don't have a plan, you don't have enough lead time to be able to really react, because people who do take all the hotel rooms, they take all the things here. You know, all the things that are at your disposal, you'll find lead time. You know, and particularly people online, lead time becomes your biggest enemy, and it means you got to know what you're going to do. You got to plan for it, and you've got to execute it when it happens. Because I'm very concerned for this year, so I'm going to raise this at every turn so people don't take it for granted. And with that, I'll turn it over to Paul.
All right. Thank you. So Zamir mentioned hurricane season, so we've got to jump on that. And so on the public works sector and PD, we've all been working together at fire. So we've got all our generators ready to go. They're topped off. We've looked at our equipment. Everything is ready to be mobilized to high ground if we need to. The one big change that we've seen this year is typically we can have a couple big 6-inch diesel pumps on standby in case a hurricane comes. they'll dispatch to us. Well, pump companies have said, the rental companies, that now everybody wants one. So to have a couple pumps on standby from now to the end of hurricane season, it's about $15,000 to $18,000, and it's if you use it, good. If you don't, you're still going to pay. So since we're in the budget workshop season, I'll be implementing that to always have two pumps ready to go. We do have one big 6-inch diesel pump that we use. We have a backup pump that we're getting ready to install on Upper Bay at Prince Williams. So I think we're pretty good on auxiliary power.
Yeah. And what,
Okay, Paul, quick question on
Yes.
that. So like the mayor said, with the water being so high,
Mhm.
what happens if the water is high and your pumps work, but are you able to pump out if the water is too high?
If it goes over the bulkhead, we're done. Yeah.
we've actually
Yeah.
targeted the bulkhead or I'd say the berms all around the city. We did that back in Hurricane or really Tropical Storm Allison, and we saw where there were areas that were being breached, and we built up those, and we took shots, elevations around the city to make sure we shore up those bulkheads and berms to 6 feet. If it goes over 6 feet, I'm just going to tell you, give up the ghost. It's time to be prepared to mobilize our emergency equipment, not to forestall, but get it to safely so we can come back and rescue. And it's just too. We just can't fight Mother Nature once you go over 6 feet. So on the other side, I really want to mention a little bit of the design basis for what Paul's talking about. Is it's really in regards to Lake Nassau. 95% of all water that hits the ground on Nassau Bay goes into Lake Nassau. And if you look at being able to contain that, Paul likes to use the pumps to bring it down in order to be able to have a headboard, so we have extra safety head space in order for the water to go. Extra pumps allow us to fight that. Okay. The big fix here is we need to dredge Lake Nassau and put bigger pumps so we can go down 3-4 feet, not just a foot and a half, foot and a half. But those are projects that we're looking at. But if Nassau Bay backs up into the city, that's when things really go to hell in a handbag quickly. It backs up and goes everywhere, and that's really one of the main battlegrounds for public works.
Yeah. Where you drain the lake right now?
No, we'll watch. I can bring the lake down 12 inches in 24 hours with just what I have out there. But with if I deploy my 6-inch pump, I can get it down a little bit faster. The problem is it's always a balance, because if the lake is only averaging about 3 feet, about 3 feet max, 2.5 to 3 feet.
Some 2 feet.
Yeah, some 2 feet. And so if we bring it down too much, say we drop it 2 feet, and a hurricane don't come in, or what they're predicting, I'll have a fish kill.
You will.
And if anybody remembers a fish kill,
You will. And
1999,
algae bloom
yeah.
followed by a fish kill.
so it's really, really tough. It's keeps us up at night, depending on how we're gonna.
We wait to the cone of whatever you want to call it, the cone of safety, cone of destruction, whatever that cone it is called. But we wait to that, and then we pull it down. We've got about an extra day when it looks like it's going to be unavoidable.
So right before coming to coffee, I was watching the Weather Channel, and we are in the cone. Houston's in the cone for Monday, 8 to 12 inches.
So yeah.
And so
I
we
don't know who you use, who's your primary, source. for
yeah, the emergency management, Texas, we use all that. And this weekend we'll be monitoring. We've actually, they've started the pumps. They've checked everything. I've got 500 gallons of fuel coming in here at City Hall for PD units and Public Works.
I'll tell
units.
you what I recommend, Pete, and it's something easy. You can Google it. It's Tropical Tidbits.
I used to work in the weather support business selling those services. So
Yeah.
I have a lot there. And,
It is to me, it is the best.
and the nice thing there is you'll get center person out in
Yeah.
July, actually, believe it or not. He actually does videos.
He does.
That normally give a really good overview of the explanation. I used to work with tropical meteorologists.
They have all the models in there, the US, the European, they have all the things there. They
The only
give
thing I wanted to, apart from my experience there, that's an important thing to understand, that code of uncertainty.
uncertainty. That's what it is.
Well, just
Keep thinking the cone of silence.
an important thing to
I'm not show
understand
my
about that,
age.
there's a lot of misconceptions about that. I don't want to call
Yeah.
it a tangent here, but what that does is show the historical error for the last 5 years in tracks of centers.
Yeah.
And so what it really is, it's not telling you anything about the certainty or uncertainty of the current forecast models. They will either get in agreement or not. Normally they get in very much agreement once they have the right data going into them. It's really, do they have the right data feeds going in? But what has happened a lot is the tracking has gotten so much better that the cone has shrunk because we're
Shrunk,
better at,
yeah.
at tracking where the center is going to go. And so what that means now is the impacts often fall outside the cone. So don't think of that cone as a cone of impact.
That's a good point.
Think of that because that's tracking the center of the
Yeah.
storm. And very much with larger storms, you will get 8, 10, especially on the northeastern side of the storm, the dirty side of the storm, is you will get impacts far outside that cone. So don't get trapped into thinking about that cone as the cone of impact. That's really just where the expectation of, based on historical information,
Sure.
where the center is going to go. And it's become when I sold those services, that's a thing I had to overcome with people to get them not focused. Well, we're outside the cone of uncertainty. That doesn't mean you're outside the cone of impact at all. In
Fair
fact,
enough.
it can be very pronounced outside.
What is that website again?
Tropical tidbits.
This tropical tidbits. Yeah. 2 words, not 3. Tropical tidbits. And you'll get there. Yep. And it's a really good site. My eldest son wanted to be a weatherologist or whatever, meteorologist, and he through schools through like Oklahoma and Penn State, that's where they say is the best place, and I've used it ever since, and it is really good. It is really good. Yep.
Another good thing is that we had a generous donation by a resident to help out the animal shelter. So Troy just purchased a trailer that will be able to get all his animals out. It's air conditioned, it's heat. Where before we would just load them up back of trucks, try to put them at Public Works. Now he's able to take off and get out of harm's way. Yeah.
Some may not know this, but a citizen donated their house when they passed away.
Yeah. And so we just got it. We're doing the logos, and we'll have her name on it. And so it's really nice. And then and speaking on since we're talking about emergency management, I'd like to introduce Sherry real quick. She just started Monday. She's the emergency management specialist. She'll be assistant Tom George, and then she's also our communications. Sherry's been in law enforcement for 29 years, right?
I retired last year.
Yeah, and so we're happy to have her on board. She's working on the website, so you'll start seeing those. She started Monday, so she's been hitting the ground running, putting things on the website for us, Facebook, and then so we're going to constantly have probably weekly items that come out. So
And she'll be responsible for Compass Rose.
no, Compass Rose, actually, we teamed up with a really good company, got a really good. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Yeah, really
Exactly
nice
right.
people. It is going to take a lot of hours off of staff. And I met with them 2 or 3 weeks ago, and then met with our representative last week. So it's going to really streamline everything. So we're pretty excited about it.
And thank you for putting the piece in on Tom Snedeker's passing
Yeah.
at 97.
Absolutely.
That looked great. Thank you very
Okay.
much for doing it.
Quick question on the same subject. What is the time frame to get something in the Compass Rose?
I believe it's the 10th of every month.
The
I'm almost
calendar day.
The calendar day. Yeah.
Okay.
So June 10th is for July.
Yeah.
July 10th for August.
If you call, like, Fun Media or
Yeah,
something like
Fun Love Media.
if you call them or email them, tell them you'd like to get, they will send you directly to your email time for you to send your information.
Yeah, and I think we forwarded a lot of that information from
Sure.
Cheney. Yeah.
Thank you.
And then also on board this week is new HR generalist, Stephanie Guerrero. She started Monday, hit the ground running. Also, we got a new park supervisor, and so that's 3 positions. So we're pretty excited about that. Sherry's been instrumental in getting all the employees their NIM certification training. So we've been tackling that for last week, couple weeks, and we have to be certified. So in case we do get some hurricane comes in, we can get reimbursed for a lot of that stuff. So a lot of good things. Down at the park, you'll see the new gate. We finally got the stops in. So when it closes, so it's automatically going to close, automatically going to open at 5, close at 11. We have remote controls for the PD units. They'll be able to go and check it at night without having to hit a keypad. We also have a bypass thing that we can do in case we lose power. And so we just got the signs in yesterday, so it'll be activated today.
Yeah,
So pretty excited about that. And then let me see, we've got power washing here at City Hall this Sunday. We've noticed a lot of mold and mildew and some little trees growing on the window ledges, so I figured it's time to get power wash. And I am going to put in a budget to get it painted for next year. Yeah, yeah. So.
But I'll say this, and it was kind of a little bit of a discussion at council on Monday. You know, we've gone through a lot of reinvestment into the city, and it is obviously showing that a lot of citizens are doing the same for their homes. You know, if you go and drive around Nassau Bay, and there's always the exceptions, but I think I've seen more houses with new paint, you know, yards trimmed, nice landscaping. The citizens in the city have put some real, you know, spit polish and elbow grease and done some fix it up, so the city looks really, really good. So it's funny how that works.
Yeah. We should be getting the new City Hall sign in any week now. It's new. The pixels are a lot better. We can control it on our phone. We don't have to come up here. We control it from home. So pretty excited about that. And then the Marine patrols, they've been doing a really good job on weekends. A lot of communication, and so they'll be hot and heavy out there. You know, for a while. Yes, ma'am.
All requests. Can
Yeah.
you ask them when they patrol Cal Bayou to the Nassau Bay Marina down past my way?
Where there's no wait zone.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
They need to get down there.
No kidding.
I mean,
I know the main
Let's-
focus is the party code and whatnot, but
but
don't
let's,
forget
let's,
about
Yeah.
let's, you know, I agree with Paul about that, but it's somewhat like a whack-a-mole. We're trying to address that. But, you know, over Memorial Day, we had 82 boats, as well as I stopped counting at 200 people swimming. So there's some real safety issues out there. And I've also seen pictures people sent me of two different situations where pretty good sized boats are doing rooster tails, and you were seeing it over there in Cal Bayou, which is a third. So you know, I think the Maritime Safety Committee that we're looking at, that's one of the things I wanted to mention is it's long overdue. We've got some people who are just really misbehaving, and I look at it as it's something that I think is finally coming into fruition. That, you know, 25 years ago, we had, you know, 30 years ago, League City was only about 25,000 people. There are 130,000 people now and growing. And it, for whatever reason, they're deciding to play in this backyard and just throughout everywhere. Because I'm getting complaints from Bal Harbor where people take jet skis up through there. I get complaints in front of the homes in Swan Lagoon. We obviously get complaints in the Upper Bay corridor, and now I'm getting complaints in the Cal Bayou. It's just
Nassau Bay Drive.
it is that just to be the behind Nassau Bay Drive. So you know, the residential areas are really getting negatively impacted. So we've got to figure that out a little bit.
When we sit on our porch on the weekend, we
No question. And that's just another thing is, I mean this with all respect. I think our police do a good job, but I think we've had a culture where, because it wasn't such a big destination, that, you know, the music was not that bad, and now you got a lot of people. There's people, you know, rafting up to 9, 10 boats, and they're blaring music regularly every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in the 80 decibel level.
You use the word music like it.
Yes, correct. Things that you know, noise that comes out of a musical instrument. Let me say it that way. But very, you know, mostly some of it's hate speech that you go to. It's truly just hate speech, so people know what I'm saying. It's bad. But
Clarification on that. So that is actually inside the city of Nassau Bay.
there's no question. It's so this is where I was going. Is it's actually zoned residential, marine residential. Okay, so that would be like if you have a home in Nassau Bay on the streets. If every Friday and Saturday night a party was occurring at that same location, every one of those 3 nights, blaring music at 80 decibels, what would we do? It's the same analogy. And it's not just one person. It's like I said, there were 82 boats and over 200 people. And my biggest fear is, when I was out there, half of it, and this is where I think when I talk to the folks down at the marina and some of the young families with kids, they don't go out there because they're worried that people will do a wake and their kids will get knocked down. So they stay away. They come down the cul-de-sacs and look to see if it's okay to go out. Then they choose whether to or not. But my big fear is that, you know, you got a 60-foot cigarette boat doing a rooster tail when you got 80 boats out there. It's just nuts. Just nuts.
Did I understand you say at one time that we had annexed all of that?
We did.
Like, so
Back-
the state
back-
has no involvement in it?
Not at all.
We can control
I mean,
it.
they still have their state laws,
Right.
but it's our jurisdiction.
Okay.
Just like our streets, we can determine the speed limit. You know, we can determine all sorts of things. So, you know, parking, no parking, it's exactly the same analogy. And like I was going to say is I think that you know, we've just not enforced some of the ordinances that have been out there. You know, the big ones being noise, the big ones being nobody should anchor within 100 yards of a property. And we say excessive weight, but the police have just done a mea culpa and say we don't know how to do it. What's 18 inches over the regular chop? You know, they're saying it's there. So that's why in the residential areas we're really looking to see what that means. And there's going to be a maritime committee just to be able to put together and do some things just to tamp down just the you know, just how you know, it's gotten bad. And that's just a fact. And
So the committee would investigate how far out we could put buoys from the park?
correct. Well, actually, the police, when they looked at our ordinance and found that, actually we had a map that they could put buoys out to be able to say you could anchor on this side, not that. So they can come out and say, see that buoy, you got to be on the other side of it.
But without that notice out there, you
You
enforce it.
can't.
But it's harder.
I'm with you. I mean, this is something that's been a long time coming. And some of it, I actually think some of it's our fault. And we need to put good signage. We need a good aids to navigation. And we need to be able to have the tools for the police to be able to do their job and let them do their job because they're good at it.
There was an article in the Chronicle last week about an alligator eating a lady over.
Yep.
on the road. We need to remind people there are alligators out there, and they do eat people in spite of what everybody
They
thinks.
do. From that, Paul and I talk. We're making an assessment, and it's so funny. Was at the first home meet of the Nassau Bay Nauticats, there was a 7-foot alligator out in the marina.
I mean, he was there when we moved here in 79.
Yeah, so
Alligators are here.
they are.
And so moving forward, what I'm going to do is I'm going to first replace all the buoys. We need all brand new buoys. We're going to look at additional areas for that. They will also have the 100-yard mark. So that way the officers can just look at the buoys and tell people, okay, get on this side, get on this side. Easier to enforce. Everything will be the engineering reflective on it. And then all the signs are getting all brand new signs, all engineer reflective, along with the alligators present on every sign. So we're really trying to put a lot of thought process.
Paul, what's your timeline? General timeline.
We're working on the buoys to see if we can get some custom made. So I'm hoping within next 2 or 3 weeks I can
Oh, in a
release
month.
that. Yeah, a
In a
month.
month.
Let's go. Yeah. We want to get them in.
So let me say, it won't be before 4th of July.
Yeah.
Just to be clear. But it should be before Labor Day.
And one thing that we know that's happened in the past is the cables when they mount the buoys, they goes down into a big concrete, and some of the cables are cut. So we'll be using like 3/16 stainless steel cables. And I know some props have hit them.
Somebody cut the cables.
Yeah. And if they hit this thing, it should wrap around their props.
Go
So
figure.
we're looking at everything that we've dealt with in the past, and then I'll just budget for maybe every 3 years, just brand new buoys,
I think
brand
we
new
should.
signs, just to keep it nice.
Article in the Impact magazine, and maybe in the Chronicle.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
We're gonna do this so that
Yeah.
people will say, "You never
You know,
told me."
Now that we have a communications.
Actually, we had a really good request from a resident that said, we get some flyers like this and handouts, and just go to all the marinas and just give them a stack of handouts,
Right.
and just say it's
I
Nassau
also
Bay's
believe-
enforced, and
I
the
also
marina.
believe we need a big sign that says this is a residential waterway.
Absolutely.
'Cause a lot of people do not know that.
Absolutely.
They just don't know that, and then have our main rules right there. Just like you go into the park, you see the thing. that
Welcome to
says-
Nassau Bay.
Yeah.
Pay attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is.
Well, it's funny you said that. Yeah, it's funny you said that because my daughter and her college friends came out last weekend and said, "Hey, we're going to take the boat. We're going to." I said, "Well, be careful. My guys are going to get you." She called me and said, "Yeah, we got pulled over." She said, "Just a safety check," and I said, "I told you." And so I said, "Tell your friends. Tell your friends." Yeah.
It will.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the other thing that, again, a couple things that worry me is when you see those like boats wrapped together, usually it's like one big boat in the middle, and usually that's the bathroom. And I really want to make sure we're doing things where if people are wrapped in like that in a big boat, that you make sure that they're not putting in sanitary, discharge. So that's one. And then the other is just life preservers. I mean, you get 40 people out on rafting stuff, that there should be 40 life preservers out there, and I know there's not. If somebody gets hurt, people don't realize we've had drownings out in that cove. We've had people die. We've had people. Paula reminded me that there was people out there where a boat was going so fast, hit a jet ski, at night, and they had to pull the people out and put them on her property as they tried to do EMS, but they died on her property. So, this is not an isolated event. It's not things that are going on. We've had people die out there, and I just don't want to be somebody where that happens when on my watch. So
Exactly.
I also, everybody knows I like to recreate too. I like to imbibe and have a drink, but you can't do it and be disrespectful for our police. I'm shocked when I see them, and I'm just pardon my language when they flip the bird and yell at our police officer and call him trash talking and being totally disrespectful. I have zero patience for that, and our guys get it, and they're very steadfast. They're very polite, but at the end of the day, if we're not supporting them, we give them the tools. Like I said, I have no tolerance for that. Nobody should be disrespectful to our
I
police.
watched that happen I love the Animal Planet, and they follow game wardens all the
Yeah.
time. That's great.
Yeah.
But they did that in Florida, and they just put the bird and some game warden and their police on the water, and they pulled these kids over, and they were all drunk and dumb.
Yeah.
Just what happened?
That's usually what
Yeah.
So, and that's why I'm going to be asking the chief just how many citations because even though they were doing whack-a-mole and did the things there, the way you really change behavior is that, it's your wallet, just like if you speed and do stuff.
I know that it's a crawl, walk, run process.
It is.
And I'm glad to hear that we're doing the first steps, which is, signage and awareness of the things that are there. But the things that occurs provide, it'll probably become a budgetary item at some point down the road. But our officers can't be everywhere all the time.
They can't.
But one of the things that can help even on the side is just awareness. I mean, we have cameras in strategic locations where people know there is surveillance.
Yeah.
Then even when they don't see an officer, they're going, yeah, but I'm not going to do it because I still might be seen. I don't know if that
Correct.
has a, I don't know if that has a
I'm with you.
I don't know if that has a deterrent value or not, but I know
Yeah.
that generally speaking, people are aware of that.
There's been a couple citizens from that workshop that we said that they would donate and do a 99-year lease to the city if they want to put a camera out there.
Okay, what's the timeline on the creation of that maritime safety committee? Like, are y'all accepting applications now?
No, we are not. So we made a policy that first we got to codify it. So first you have to pass it. You want to create it. So the next city council meeting is we'll have Dick Gregg will codify it, and we put plans together to harmonize what each committee's rules are, so it should be straightforward. And we said we didn't want to populate it unless two things happened first: that it got put in the Compass Rose, and that it was published on the Facebook and website of the city, so that we can announce it and get people to submit in order to be able to do that.
So like a couple months before?
My bet is it will probably be August where we have the first chance to really seat people, just because it just takes time.
So like you'll like the application. This is a question specifically. Okay.
No, that's okay. No, it's a great question. It was brought up.
So like it would be like a month before that you would be asking for the application.
It would, and because we've made a group decision on councils that we wanted to have it announced and published so that people have the ability to participate, and we're going to do that. So,
Hey, Philip, also, what have you decided on the dangerous part of the turn by David Braun Park by the water treatment plant?
Mhm.
And that right now currently does not.
I've got to call out to Nick Long. I want to do something before we just go do something unilaterally. I want to see if League City will join us.
Yeah.
Because and again, this is what coming back to Becky to what you said. We have annexed it. It is there, but that's the borderline between Harris and Galveston County. So not only is it the difference between Nassau Bay and another jurisdiction, it's actually two different counties. So we've got to the police again are looking at how do you control things that are outside, which means we might need an interlocal agreement or something like that. Just like we did up on Nassau Road 1, where Webster, Johnson Space Center, TxDOT, Pasadena, and Nassau Bay all agreed that we are the ones that maintain the medians, right? We're the ones that's supposed to do that. So I'm envisioning something like that, but I don't know. I have to see what Nick has to say.
As an active voter, I recently joined, a couple months ago, I joined as a citizen, the Citizens Against Derelict Dumps, or
Yep.
called the Dead Boat Society.
Yep.
Right now, and I went to a meeting just a couple nights ago, and there were a lot of, Seabrook was all there, mayor was there, city manager, city council member, and one other person. And the conversation came, there are 25 partially or sunken or abandoned boats on Clear Lake right now.
Mhm.
And some are below the water surface. So we're a group that's trying to identify all those boats. Right now, Seabrook has to lift a boat out of the water. It's a sailboat. It's going to cost them $14,000.
Yeah.
Abandoned boat. And there's like we've identified over 75 derelict boats in well-known marinas. And these boats just get shoved off. People steal off the stuff, and then the boat gets abandoned and sunk.
So it's 14,000.
14,000.
Wow.
One sailboat out.
Wow, we were paying. I think about 6-7 years ago, it was $100 per foot.
Yeah.
So that helps me out now.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
But it's it's a pretty good sized boat. It's also a sailboat, which is another issue. Because then you got the
To kill.
whole different trailer.
Yeah, you got
whole different reach.
The one thing that I know is going to be an issue, and it's why we kind of left it, other than those hairpin turns or the no seat turnaround, is when you look at the people who have boats in our Nassau Bay Marina, even if they don't go up there, they're trying to get out to Clear Lake from there. So they want they don't want to have a no wake all the way from the marina all the way to Clear Lake, which I agree with them. I don't think that's right.
Well, they can also move to Val Harbor and they're right there.
Well, but there's a lake. There's a Nassau Bay Yacht Club. There's a Nassau Bay. There's a lot of boats there.
I get it.
But I mean, that doesn't mean at those hairpin turns that there shouldn't be something that's navigation
Absolutely.
to slow them down. But I don't believe that whole creek should be a no wake. I'm not for that. And I think we should. I think we need to crawl, walk, run, or whatever, and do things and see its impact. Because I think that creek is, and I also believe that the folks at League City, they're trying to develop to allow people to go inland. I don't think they'll be at all, open to making that all no wake where it takes hours to get into their park. So there's going to be a balance here. And if I told you I knew the answer, I'm lying to you. But my focus right now is the residential area, which is Bal Harbor, Swan Lagoon, the Upper Bay, and the Nassau Bay Drive or the Cal Bayou corridors, where people's homes are there, music, and people don't really understand the trash that's involved with some of this. Lots. I mean, we have all this expense and we have no revenue. Things like so. It's either we gotta control it, or we got to find a way to get revenue, because some of the people in this committee were saying, well, maybe we should put mooring buoys and charge for the mooring buoys to control how many people are out there. Now, that's a pretty radical change in what we do. But I think that's what that's when you're running. But, what do we want to do?
Do we know if Great Wolf Lodge is going to have boat rentals and jet skis? Because I assume they will. And that's where they going to want to go.
They're
run.
landlocked, aren't they?
They're not underwater yet.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
landlocked.
Yeah.
So
Are they?
that may not be right for right now. Maybe that may be a few. But my understanding, I could be wrong, Pete. I don't want to say.
And I
But
don't know
That
either.
it was Margaritaville that had water access. Great Lodge did not. Was what I understood.
So we
So
may want to check that. 'cause I
I'll
had
double
heard-
check it.
I had heard that they were going to.
It may be phase two. It may be
Jeff
phase
heard the
two.
same.
I'll follow up on that.
Because if they are, now guess what? They're going to want to rent jet skis and boats.
No
and
question.
where are they going to want to come?
The other thing too is I don't know if you've seen things, but coming in here, Nassau Bay is now a target for party boats, where people actually have a bar and a captain, 25, 30 people on a boat that comes in just to have them drink, and they go by and they throw drinks to people out there. They do stuff. I mean, it's got to.
Is it legal to impose speed limits on the water?
We can do that.
There's no speed limit in Clear Lake.
We don't.
No, I know
You
that.
can't.
I've never seen it.
You
I just
can't.
know.
I've seen it. I'm trying to remember where. As I saw there was like a 5 mile per hour speed limit
But
rather
even
than a
like
no wheel.
20.
I'm just saying.
Hairpin
Yeah.
turn. Hairpin turn problem.
And Pete, to go back to your question, Tom put a really good map together. Him and Tim was working on it, and we're thinking about coming down from Cowboy. Soon as it starts making that turn a little bit, maybe 100 yards prior to that, have a sign that says dangerous turn or something with solar lights, with a solar light that would light up at night, and then coming back from the creek, same thing, and then on the harbor side doing the same thing. So we're looking at four
Again,
new
I'm
signs.
not.
Yeah.
I don't know who suggested, but these small cameras that are cellular, interface, not Wi-Fi, but cellular interface, take very little power, and you can be out there with a solar, a small little solar thing, and you can have video coverage. I think you may have been the one who brought it, but it's you can have video coverage, and it's really, really simple. And every boat out there should have their markings. So,
How are you going to do that, though? You're going to get a reporting what that means.
well, if you say you have a no wake and somebody goes by there in a rooster tail putting a 2-foot weight through there, you would be able to have a picture of it, just like you have a picture of when you go through stoplights. Same.
And you're not going to be able to get down to zero. We all know that.
Correct.
But I do believe even the deterrence value of the cameras.
I think that's right.
Has added value in and of itself.
I think people will be a little bit more cautious around the copious amount of alcohol that they may drink, for example.
And if you do have an incident, you now have something
Of file and record.
right.
Yeah. completely agree. Not everybody agrees with that, but I'm
The
with.
question was asked the other night about Seabrook and how far out the jurisdiction goes into the water. And they did not have an answer for that. Which goes into Galveston Bay and also goes into Clear Lake. So that's another.
We have definitive demarcation of what we annex. So we know what we annex.
I think Chambers County comes all the way up. to
It does.
Yeah.
Runs up
Yeah.
to and Kima.
Yeah.
Does it go into Kima? I didn't know
Right.
that.
No.
All the way.
Chambers County got really smart years ago. They annexed that whole area. So once you leave this Kima, you're in Chambers County.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I still thought that was Galveston
No.
County.
No, been that way for years.
Yeah.
I think because of oil, they got the revenue.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oil production.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Phil, I think that, there's been that pent up demand for people wanting to get out and enjoy boating and travel is both airports. Barbara did an airport run this morning. Both airports are almost at capacity
No question.
for parking.
No
And
question.
so I think it's going to continue all summer. And unless we have, a tropical storm or a hurricane to slow it down, it's all this pent up demand is why we're seeing everyone wanting to party and enjoy.
I actually think it's not just only pent up. I think there's been a shift in what people do. I really do. I think there's some permanency to it.
Yeah.
Pete, not
And
just
it's
not
not
just
a bad thing
back
if it's done
pent up.
right.
It is.
Controlled. Don't get drunk. Don't be drunk driving.
Yeah.
Stupid
I mean,
things like that.
I enjoy a cold one just as much as everyone else, and
No, not you.
I hope that they have some fun, but just I use it when they're trash talking and yelling and flipping the bird at our police. And really, that shows just how disrespectful.
So that gives them probable cause to pull them over, doesn't it?
Yeah, but our guys aren't doing that. They're not trying to do a fight out there. I'm trying to push and I'm trying to give them the tools because you look at what Texas Parks and Wildlife. I mean, those guys are even more powerful than the state police. You see the Coast Guard go out there.
They're number one.
They're number one. I mean, they come out there. They got that 50 caliber on the front end of it, right? And they come in when they're doing a safety check. They're not distinguishing who. They just everybody through there. They go from one end of the inlet to the other. They board everyone. They come up with 2-man teams. And you can see when they put in, you see 3 or 4 boats boogie because they say they're not getting me yet. So I'm out of here because they don't have enough life preservers or they're doing no horns, alcohol, you name it. So, anyways, we've been on this topic. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
We're not going in a hurry, but we are definitively going in a direction.
Changing the subject, is the crash pad a done deal or is it?
No, it is. It's something that's been talked about, right? There's been no funding for it at all, and right now there's still discussion about even where to do it, right? If they do it. So
I was down at the park with the 2 daughters and their grandson, and I said, I think they're going to take this hill down.
they're not on my watch. Not on my watch.
You would have thought that I would.
They know it too.
I just American, they were like, woo!
Yeah. All I know is
That is a love.
yeah.
I was like, but you didn't let me finish, girls. They were like, no.
There's a lot of sentimental pent up permanent value of that hill, and I'm one of them, just so you know.
We could add to it.
And
Dredge the lake. We could
Parks and
add
Rec,
to it.
no. I mean, I think if you saw at the meeting, they said I'm one who does not want to move that hill. Because I'm also looking at it from a standpoint of we've got to fix the bathrooms down there. I mean, we're still doing that and we're still looking at that because there's the whole infrastructure for that is there. And I know there's also, there's always this is not between good and bad. I mean, there's people who look at things from a standpoint of what can we do for our kids versus what green space do we want to have there for walking, right? So we got to make sure it's balanced and we do it right. So, it's still at the, if I was looking at a capital appropriation when I was in, it's not even at stage 1 gate yet. So it's at that point. I mean, it's a good idea, but it's at the stage 1 gate. So, okay.
And those of y'all who play pickleball just got an updated picture. It is
Yep.
looking really, really good.
It is.
I want to say something.
Uh-oh.
I did send you guys an email. I do. And it looks like you just kind of ignored all my
No,
suggestions.
it's those aren't regulation and things like that. We're not finished yet, so it's.
I mean, I literally drove my bicycle
Yep.
out there yesterday and looked at it. It was pitiful.
So
To me, as a pickleball player.
yeah, I mean, but those are never have been and weren't designed to be official pickleball courts. So,
What are we spending money on? I mean, it
Um,
seems like it's money not well spent.
well, I mean, real numbers here. So I think we spent to be able to refurbish the practice tennis courts, to be able to refurbish the existing pickleball court and establish another pickleball court was what, $37,000?
Yeah,
37,000. If we wanted to tear up and make it things, you're probably talking about $250,000.
But why don't you just strike the existing tennis courts like I suggested, which only would cost you $1,000 the most?
Well,
That's where any other community around here, that's why I just went and played down there.
Let me get with you because I misunderstood because I thought the focus was more on the pickleball courts than on the tennis because we're not refurbishing the tennis. Yeah,
Pickleball.
so
Every other place, that's what I stated in my email to you guys. I said, hey, why don't you guys go around and look at all that? I even gave you an example of the one
You
over
did.
in Countryside. You go over there, they just resurfaced.
Bell Harbor's got
And they just did a great job, and I know it didn't cost them that much money.
so
And so it's an existing court, and it's not, the things you have is asphalt. I mean, it's terrible.
it is. I mean, if you noticed, and then we just didn't have it. I've been pulling up all our asphalt. I mean, if you look at everything we're putting in concrete, and that lasts 30 years, whereas asphalt will last
But
5-7
what
years.
I'm saying is you've got tennis courts out there.
Yep.
You've got a bunch of tennis courts, and they aren't utilized. In fact, when I went there yesterday, the pickleball players were actually playing on the tennis court because, they aren't being utilized.
Yep.
And they're kind of just, playing around. They really weren't playing pickleball. They were just kind of hitting it back and forth. The tennis courts, you could have one court on each side of the tennis court net.
Yeah.
And everybody
It
brings,
is.
everybody
It
that
is.
plays pickleball, most of them have their own nets. You don't have to provide the nets. They'll bring their own
I'll go down there and look at it again. I will. I'll go
because
take a look.
it's a lot cheaper. It would really, it cost you $2,000 or $3,000 maybe to have someone go out there and paint the stripes. That'd be it.
Ben,
We should look at that.
Ben agrees with everything you
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
Ben just
we
happens
should-
to not
yeah.
be. Ben
What would
goes,
you say
well,
on that?
they're spending money and they're doing, I won't tell you what he said, but basically he said, why are they spending money on this when they can use that money someplace else? And we're still gonna have
Yeah.
undesirable courts out there.
Yeah.
It's really
I'll take a look. I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, the tennis courts have provided wind breakage too.
They
do,
You've
they
already
do.
got the wind. See, that's a big thing.
That's a
playing
big thing.
outside,
Yep.
Especially there, 'cause the wind is horrible right there.
I would suggest adding Don Nims, as a consultant, as this is happening now,
It's
Phil,
gonna cost a lot.
rather than when it gets done and then looking back and say, well, we should have done this, that, because, he's number one pickleball player in Nassau Bay right now, only because I'm injured. But he's number one.
And you've been injured for like 3 years now.
But no, but really, he gets it and he understands because he's played at all the surrounding
enough.
pickleball areas. So we
I'll
love
take a
that
look
we're
at it.
going from 2 pickleball courts to 4 pickleball courts. We just are concerned that is it going to be done the right way?
You know,
Coming.
I mean, Glenn was like, and then he left. He said, whatever Don says, you agree with him. So, Don, thank you, I agree with you.
Last couple things I have is the Nassau Bay Hurricane Flood Preparedness Meeting. That is June 27th at the Tom George Fire Department. And
It's a
the
Thursday, right?
yes, I believe so. Yes, and
And
the,
again, just to say it louder, it's June 27th, Thursday, June 27th.
Yes.
At what time?
6:30 to 8 o'clock.
6:30.
Yes,
Not 7, not 6, 6:30.
and the guest speaker is Dan Riley, He'll be talking about the hurricane season, experience with past storms. There'll also be door prizes, snacks, drinks, and goodie bags. And then the last thing I want to talk about was the 4th of July parade. Getting ramped up for that. Really excited about that. The water wars start at 12. You can pick up a Compass Rose when you leave, and then all the everything else starts from 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock. So we're pretty excited about that, and that's all I have. Man.
Yeah, the competition for the water wars, I understand now, is how cold can you get your water in your big water devices. Right? Pardon me? I didn't know
Really?
that. That's a good reminder. So yeah, so anybody who's listening, this is the 10th year anniversary for the Water Wars. So if there's ever a time to come out to compete, this is it. This is the first double-digit anniversary. So be prepared.
And then started during Chris Reed.
I think it did. It
Yeah.
did.
So I've got a story about that. Quick story.
Yeah.
So Laura and I used to have like 7 golf carts. And we used to help organize the parade. And one year we had a freedom celebration. Anyway, one guy came in uniform. He was like in his 80 or 90. And all of a sudden we're driving the golf carts and then somebody splattered him full of water. And I tell you what, he was so mad. We weren't mad too. My wife got out of the golf cart and started running to this guy. And I think he went to the grade thinking they did it on purpose. He was in uniform. I think that's when Chris came up with the idea to split them apart.
Yeah, I think that's also, correct me if I'm wrong, you got to wear a bandana or something.
Yes.
You can't. It's against the law of water wars to engage somebody who's not in the proper uniform, which is the bandana. Or correct me if I'm wrong. So
Yeah.
but
Just to give you an idea of how popular it is, the daughter and the 2 grandsons live in Harbor Market. Okay, no, they live over across the lake. So all of their little friends, they're 8 and 6, all of their little friends are saying, "Can we come over to your grandmother's house for the water war?"
yeah, I bet.
I'm like, wait a minute. I think she's had like 15 requests.
That's fantastic. I love that. I love it.
that.
I think it's great. You know, the one thing I'll mention is, because I really want to put a plug, is if you haven't seen the plaque that we've done and all the work for Chris Reed up there in Town Square, for everybody who was thinking there was some shicky-micky going on, the Reed family is extremely happy. If you look inside, I mean, what I really like is Paul took the initiative to do the lighting for the fallen responders memorial, which has Kayla, and you got Chris Reed on the other side that's lit up, as well as you have the fountain, and it's really a beautiful sight. It is really beautiful, and I also want to not only just look at the plaque, but we retiled the inside, and we put 2 things that are very special to Chris Reed. One is there's 4 special tiles. 2 are the Fighting Irish guy, leprechaun going like this, and the other 2, and they're at 180, is the 82nd Airborne in response to his military service, as well as the tile is on the whole interior of the perimeter is Notre Dame colors. So it really looks good, and they've done the landscaping right. The flowers were picked out by the family. It looks really good.
Yeah.
That's the place it should have been from the very beginning. So I'm really pleased with that.
And if you're a veteran, please reach out to Michelle Michelli at Special Events Committee, so they can put a yard sign in your yard for 4th of July. So that's all.
Well, thanks to you both. The city's really looking good. I guess the question probably get tired of me talking about it, but on the Peninsula Trail, really looking quite overgrown. We have
Yeah, so actually, we have on our website, we are going to be hiring 2 part-time people for 3 months, and their entire job is to cut trees Monday through Thursday.
Throughout the city.
Yeah, throughout the
Throughout the
city.
city.
It's we're hoping to get some anybody over 16 able to drive. We've already acquired all the safety equipment for them, and I'm hoping to start interviews next week. Yeah, and Monday through Thursday, just trimming trees.
And give some background. We looked at maybe getting contractors, but we weren't doing big enough work. So we came up with the idea of part-time folks. We got in the summer for kids who could earn some money, and we wanted to do nothing but to do tree trimming, weed trimming, weeding, just make our city look more manicured. We started. Everybody likes the tree trimming we've done. The biggest one is the Founders Park, but there's also along the different area that people seen, and we really want to do that whole kind of thing throughout the city, and we want to dedicate a 3-month effort to 2 guys.
So minimum of 16 years of age?
16 years of age, $19.36. We're going to be paying more than the other cities. Most other cities are 16, so we're hoping to get some good. You want to?
Yes.
Come on,
I did
Pete.
it by volunteer. I'll do it for 19.
So with all the rain, that's been great. The trees look great. The lawns look great. Even lawns that haven't looked are looking good now. How much has that reduced the amount of water usage, Paul, since the residents have not had to water as much?
Typically, right now, we should be right at about 1 million gallons a day, and let me see what yesterday's was. We're probably right underneath it.
That would be
here
an
we go.
improvement if it is.
780,000 gallons.
That's a low number.
Yeah, so we should be around 1 million.
No, a high number in June is about 1.1. That's a high number. I was thinking that we typically are around just like you were saying, and but if it's a dry June or whatever, we'll punch 1.1, 1.2. We very rarely, unless there's something going on, punch above 1.5. And with all the work that we've done on the underground stuff, we don't have nearly the leakage going on. How many? We had one leak in May.
One major leak in May. Right now, we should be averaging about 2 leaks a week. And
we're not.
We are not.
And I would say July is the beginning of when we really should look, because that's when the real, forces underground will put pressure. And just remember, it's not like the forces cause a break when that happens. It's already broken. And it's just finally broken enough where it actually can just have enough volume to make a geyser come up. So it's that we're not seeing these and things along that line, and those are really good numbers. We're going to be going on the next tranche here. You're going to be seeing next series of improvements. We mentioned about the pickleball courts, but the ADA access for Swan Lagoon, for the walkway going between, as well as these Founders Park to be able to refurbish the ramp and everything to put non-motorized boats. These people still do that, but it's we're going to redo that down there. The 4 linear miles of distribution is going to start probably September.
Yeah, maybe
October, right?
Yeah.
And we're also going to be doing that main header up on Upper Bay Road. So you're going to see it. NASA Parkway.
Saturday.
It's we're gonna put it up there, and so you're going to see another tranche of real valuable infrastructure improvement over the next 3 to 6 months.
And then
Bill, sorry, I was going to say, and thank you for having the construction next to the Hilton, having him clean up that area, since the building project's kind of on hold, but at least he's cleaned that up there. And I know that was a result of comments here.
It was, no question.
And we'll be proposing, I'll be proposing $200,000 in street repairs for this coming year. And so we've already identified like 5 big areas. So 400?
Yeah.
I'll take it.
When do you believe the pump will go in on Upper Bay next to the Clayton?
The box was ordered 3 weeks ago. We should be getting it, I'm hoping, within another week. We've already got the lines ready. We've done the prep work. I'm hoping we can have everything in the next 2 weeks. Yeah.
It is, because that's a big one that takes that right now, if that overcomes its capacity, it goes over the ridge and it goes everywhere else. So we can intercept that. And one of the things I was looking at, and Paul was out there, is the crest that is now on Howard Ward Park. It's been there for a while, but as we're looking at, that's diverting a whole lot of water onto Upper Bay Road. So we're looking at how we can preempt that and getting it out into the bay or the lake before it gets onto Upper Bay Road. And plus this pump, that means we can intercept a lot of that water, which just keeps a lot of it away from going down to Lake
I
Nassau.
know at one point you said you were considering several pumps along. Upper Bay.
Yeah. I'll give you another thing here, and this is why I mentioned about James and some of the stuff he did with grants. We've got 3 major projects that you've helped us with, I know, which is looking at dredging and upgrading the pumping system for Lake Nassau so that we can maybe have 10 feet of depth in Nassau Bay, plus 480 volt 3-phase power to really do big pumps to get it out, and then electrifying with 480 3-phase power up all the Upper Bay corridor and upgrading each one of those things with the bigger pumps, as well as the Davon extension that goes out into the creek to be able to offload that area. I know we've got some crush pipe that we're going to deal with, but that whole we need a bigger, better, more pipe to get the water out. So, and we're going to be doing that.
Okay. People pass away in our community, and before COVID, you kind of always knew, but after COVID, you don't know. Is there some way we could put? I don't have an idea. Susan White passed away.
Yeah.
We've been friends forever. Totally got biased. Is there some way that we can have something that says, this resident has passed, this one, so that we kind of know? I feel terrible that I didn't know Susan White passed away.
Yeah, that's a really good question, and let me put some thought to that, because there's organizations that welcome people, but there should also be organization that remembers people.
Yes.
And that's actually a really cool thought. So.
Well, I think like we did with Tom Snedeker, you have a resident that brings it up, and that makes. But
what I'm hearing from Barbara is that it probably needs to be more organized, because if you don't have a champion citizen to help with that, it falls through the cracks, and that may be a shame. Yeah, I mean, I'll give you credit, Pete. You're the one who kind of championed Tom and making sure things were there. And when you have that, things don't fall through the cracks. But if you've got, somebody for whatever reason doesn't have a champion, or people don't know that there's a way to do that, things fall off into the crack without good reason. So that's a good thought, Barbara.
We had a friend whose wife passed away, which we did not know. And we ran into him somewhere, and he said, "Did you know I got remarried?" And I was like,
I know who you're talking about.
I'm like, I mean,
That's right.
He said, "My wife passed away 2 years ago."
Yep.
And I remarried, and I was like,
Good for you.
not looking at Glenn, Glenn's looking at me. That's awful. Maybe they could call in the city hall and say, did you know that so-and-so has passed away? And we could list them.
And got remarried.
They probably just volunteered for a new job.
It's embarrassing when somebody says, have you met my new wife? And you're going, where's your other wife go? That's horrifying. He looked at us and we looked at each other, and she looked at us and was like, I don't know.
Any other comments? Because we're a little after 10 o'clock.
I'm sorry, I have an issue. That's really affecting.
No, that's all right.
Can I come up and talk to you too?
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
absolutely.
Yeah.
No question. Please do. And I'll just say this, and we've actually, and that's why I really appreciate your comments. We can't see everything. And this is meant to be eyes and ears so that we can, focus attention on stuff that not everybody sees. And I think that's one reason why I think the city's looking nice is that, we're all kind of working in the same direction where, stuff's getting done. And, so please, you're not gonna upset us. We got thick skin. If we're not doing something right,
Yeah.
well, how's my line is, if we're doing something that we shouldn't be doing, I'd like to know about it. And if we're not doing something that we should be doing, I want to know about it. Okay.
So a little public service announcement. I think today is the Army's birthday and Flag Day.
Wow.
Okay.
Didn't know that.
Flag Day.
Yeah.
And back in 2008, I got hired to be a civilian Army recruiter and went to Fort Jackson, South Carolina. I could not believe men and women marching together. It blew me away.
Yeah, me either.
All right.
Yeah, I'll just a quick one. Update on mosquito spraying. Are we staying through July, 3
Yes.
days a week?
Yes. Yeah.
These mosquitoes still aggressive out there? or-
They're getting a little bit better. We notice when it rains, it takes 3 to 5 days, and then we get hammered. But we've got mosquito traps out. They check them daily, and we keep spraying as long as they're in the traps. So,
Real quick. We were talking about submitting information for the newsletter. Did somebody oversee that and approve whether or not?
Paul and I are the last thing we sign off.
That's
Yeah.
it.
So I mean, like, quite honestly, and we had a situation where you saw that they deviated pretty dramatically from what was there, and yeah, we heard about it. We heard about it a lot. So yes,
Well, that
it's
was a lot of design.
it was, and that's why we reinforced the sign off, because it was not getting signed off, and that got stopped. So, and we said we would make sure that we both need to do that before it goes out. And I think we've done it. I think that it's doing a good job. I really did.
I think it was good.
I think it looks good.
Hey, Phil, you gonna give us a Father's Day well wish?
How can I not now? Pete? Guilt me into it. No, for everybody who's a father, I've got a son who's got a grandson, so he's gonna have the first time where my grandson will actually understand what Father's Day is. So that's a good thing. But hey, we've got a lot of younger families in this neighborhood now, and I think it's great. I wish all of them a really, really great time. I hope dads get good steaks or whatever is their favorite food and their favorite beverage, and they get treated like the kings they are. So how's that?
Wonderful.
All righty. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just good seeing you.
how's it going? Yeah.
So what you got here?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Clippers Court. Yeah.
Clippers Drive.
Yeah, that's it.
And Civic Court.
I know where you're at.
I have that double brick fence. It's legal.
Yeah.
The end of it is that big double brick farm. And it started out with me asking someone.
I don't have a map here. I want to. So you're right by that. So let me make sure. You're the property that has the Nassau Bay Flower Box on it. So yeah, that's what I wanted to make sure on Clippers Cove. Right. So correct.
So originally I was asking him if he can't find a record.
Yeah. Is this the white fence? This is the white ring. See, that's in every single entryway, every north-south entry in Nassau Bay.
People behind me, I think we should ask them, because they have those double pillars. And I need to
But
ask
that's
them.
not on an, you're, if I heard, you're right on an entryway, right? So those, we have one on Nassau Bay Drive, we have one on Point Lookout, we have one there, that is that break. So to change that, it would change kind of the standard that we have for everything there. Correct.
That's my flower box thing. But
No, I think it belongs to the city. I really do. Yeah, that's probably one of the ones that needs the most repair. Because I've seen it. It's out there. You're actually have missing break. There's certain things where there's missing grout, that you almost stick your hand through. Yeah, correct. And it is leaning. You're right.
very much. I mean, when I bought it, the lady I bought it from, she kept putting a level on the trees.
The foundation is squishy.
He had
Something.